welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Emma and I recently had an open rhinoplasty or a nose job with MYA cosmetic surgery, and I've been sharing every step of my nose job journey here on my YouTube channel, so I will leave the link to that playlist in the description box if you guys do want to check it out and follow along with my journey. But today I'm sitting down to talk to you guys specifically about my experience with MYA as a company and as the people who organised and who carried out my nose job, because I did get a lot of questions from you guys about going with MYA and my experience with them. So I'm literally going to be talking you guys through my whole MYA journey and experience. I have made some extensive notes because I want this video to be really informative, so grab yourself a drink, get comfy, because it might be a bit of a chatty one, but I just wanted to be honest and be really informative and helpful for anyone who is researching them and who wants to know more about them, because obviously I know from experience that it is a huge decision deciding who is going to carry out your surgery and who you want to go with. So first of all, I'm going to talk about why I decided to look into MYA in the first place and how it kind of all came about. So I've got a family member who has had a couple of procedures with MYA, so I already knew who they were. If you start looking into any plastic surgery procedure here in the UK, you will quickly see that MYA are one of the biggest names and one of the biggest companies that comes up. I just dropped my pen. So not only were they recommended to me personally, but they were also recommended online. If you go online, you'll see how much of a following they have on social media. So yeah, I think for me, the fact that they are so popular, that they've got so many success stories, so many patients, old and new, kind of speaks for itself. Like, they're not going to be that popular if they're not that good. So I guess there are pros and cons of going with a cosmetic company as opposed to going with a surgeon directly. They are in charge of your care, they oversee everything, your pre-op care, your post-op care, everything like that is managed by MYA. Whereas if you went directly with a surgeon, I guess the surgeon would be doing everything and you'd have more of like a one-on-one relationship with them, which can be a good and a bad thing, because I guess if you didn't like them or if something went wrong, there wouldn't be any middleman to help you out. Like, that's kind of what MYA is, if that makes sense. I do see a lot of surgeons on Instagram advertising themselves, and I guess some girls see one on Instagram and decide to go with them directly, but personally I don't regret choosing to go through a company because I think it's turned out well for me. So my MYA journey started in January. I went onto the website, I put in my email address, my phone number in order to arrange a consultation, and the great thing about MYA is that all of the consults are free, so there's no obligation. You don't have to pay anything, whereas some other companies that I spoke to, they wanted me to pay like £500 to go in and meet the surgeon and chat with them, whereas MYA, everything is free up until you decide that you want to book your surgery date and you reserve it and you decide to go ahead and everything. So someone called me back from MYA within a couple of days, and I'd say that we spoke for around half an hour. This was not my official consultation. This is just kind of like a callback to see, oh, what are you interested in? What do you want a consultation for? So we just had a nice chat. The girl was really lovely, like everyone that I've met from MYA. They gave me a very brief overview of the procedure, of the company, and then I got booked in for my video consultation, which I think was roughly 1 week after my first phone call. And the video consult is with one of the MYA patient advisors. So again, the patient advisor that I spoke to was really lovely. She asked me lots of questions, I was able to ask her lots of questions. She was really interested in me and my life and why I wanted to have it done and what I wanted done. There was a lot of focus on patient care, which is what I really like about MYA. This consultation was around 1 hour long, and it was basically an overview of the whole procedure. So she showed me different types of noses, different types of surgery, because there are different types of rhinoplasty. She talked about the surgeons, where I would have the surgery done, like the hospital and stuff, she talked about the recovery, and she's talked about the cost. And as I said in a previous video, with Maya, obviously they mention the cost because that is important, but they don't mention it straight away, which I really like. So in my video consult, the patient advisor assigned a surgeon to me. So you don't get to pick out of the surgeons which one you have, but I'm sure if you guys had a preference that they would take that into account. Say if you had watched my videos and you really wanted the surgeon that I had, but personally I didn't know any of the surgeons, I didn't really have a preference, so I just let them pick the surgeon for me. So I decided that I wanted to go ahead onto the next stage, which is having a physical in-person consultation with the surgeon. So my surgeon was Dr. Giannis, and I wanted to get the ball rolling really quickly. Once I decided that I was going with Maya, I wanted to get things moving as fast as I could. Not that I was rushing it or anything, but I'd already wanted my nose done for like 10 years. So once I decided I was going with Maya, once I had a surgeon, I was like, okay, I want to meet him as soon as possible. I want to get the surgery as soon as possible. So this was in January, and the earliest appointment that I could get to meet Dr. Giannis was February 25th, I think it was, which felt like a really long time. It was a month away, but obviously time goes quickly, and with these things it is important to still put a lot of thought into them even after you've made the decision. So as I said in the video call, we were discussing when I wanted to have things done, and because I wanted things done ASAP, she did have a look at the diary and the availability and when I could potentially have it done. So Dr. Giannis only had 2 surgery dates available in March. I think there might have been cancellations, but I actually couldn't because I wasn't meeting him until February 25th, and after you meet the surgeon, you can't have your surgery within 2 weeks. Legally, you need to have a 14-day cooling off period to think about it and everything before having the surgery. So she said that the earliest I would be able to have my surgery would be the beginning of April, which felt like such a long time because I was in January. But honestly guys, it went so quickly, and it is a good idea to have a couple of months at least between booking the surgery and having it done, because I knew that he got booked up quite far in advance, so I didn't want to wait until the 25th of February when I met him to book my surgery date. So I decided to book my surgery date before I'd met the surgeon, which I know is kind of controversial. Some people might be like, wow, why would you do that when you haven't even met him yet? But obviously I had heard about him, I'd researched him, I'd seen his work and everything. So following my first video consult, when the April diary opened up, I decided to reserve a date because I wanted to get it done in early April. I didn't want to wait till May or June or anything. So if this is the case and you know a date that you want to reserve, you can pay a deposit. For me it was £750 deposit to reserve the date, and the deposit does come off your final bill, your final total. As I said, you don't have to pay anything before meeting your surgeon. They don't ask you to pay anything. It's just that I wanted to reserve that date. So with the cost, I was a bit surprised because the amount was more than I was expecting. In the first initial phone call, I was told that rhinoplasty at Maya starts around $6,995. So that's kind of the figure that I had in my head. But then in my consult, she gave me a higher figure, which I wasn't really expecting. So after the consult, obviously I did have to sit down and think about the price and the financing and everything like that. But ultimately I decided that I wanted to go ahead because I loved the consultation that I had. I already was in love with Maya and how they treated patients, and I was in love with just the whole idea of being a Maya girl. I spoke with other people like my mum, and she said if you're thinking of paying that much anyway, then why would you not pay a bit more to get the nose that you want and to have it done by the people that you want to do it? Like, if you're going to pay out that much, you may as well pay a bit more and get the very best. And I totally agree with that. I still don't really know how they figure out the prices at MYA, because I have spoken to other MYA girls who all have different prices to me, some of them even cheaper than mine, and I think looking at the before and after pictures, it seems like their nose job was more work than mine, if that makes sense. So with the pricing, I don't really know how it's worked out and how they calculate that, whether it's just like a guess or whatever, I don't really know. But I would definitely say to you guys, it is worth paying more for quality. If you find a surgeon or a company that you really like, it is worth paying more to get the best result, because at the end of the day, it's a huge procedure. It's not like going out and buying a new top or a pair of shoes. Like, you're buying a new nose, it's going to be on your face forever. And yeah, if you did do it and something went wrong, you can have revision surgery, but a lot of surgeons say, like my surgeon said, if I wanted revision surgery, I wouldn't be able to have it up until 1 year afterwards when the nose had healed. And another thing to remember is that a lot of surgeons are reluctant to fix things that they didn't do. So if you went to a surgeon who messed it up and you had a botched nose job or you didn't like it, a lot of surgeons will say, I'm not touching that because I didn't do it. Like, I've seen a lot on Instagram and TikTok, girls going over to Turkey to get their nose done because it's really cheap over there. It's cheaper than the UK. It's not something I would ever personally do. Not judging anyone who does, and I know that some of them, it's turned out really well and they love it and they don't regret going over there. But if you did and something went wrong, a lot of doctors in the UK would not be willing to fix it, because not only did they not do it, but it was also not done here in the UK. So yeah, obviously choosing the surgeon is the biggest decision. But my advice to you guys would always be, don't let the cost factor in on your decision, because if you're going to have a nose job, if you're going to pay thousands anyway, then if you need to pay a little bit extra to get the best, you're paying thousands already, it's worth it. But that's just my personal advice and my thoughts on the cost of surgery. So February 25th came around and I went to the MYA clinic, which if you're in Manchester, the Manchester clinic is in Cheadle. It's at the industrial business park in Cheadle, inside some offices, and oh my god, I wanted to post about it everywhere. I was so tempted to do an Instagram story, but obviously I was keeping it secret until it was time to go in for my surgery, because that's what I did. I didn't tell anyone until I posted my video saying that I'm getting a nose job. So my surgeon, Dr. Giannis, I've said this before in other videos, but I would completely recommend him. And he said that I would be having an open rhinoplasty with a skin graft, because he wanted to put a skin graft here in my tip to keep the tip of my nose lifted. I did say that in my surgery vlog. And alobase reduction, which is reducing the size of my nostrils and this bit here. Again, I did talk about that and show that in my other video. But when I had my first video consult with MYA, they told me that I'd be having an open septorhinoplasty, which is a septoplasty and a rhinoplasty. I felt like I got off on the wrong foot with him at first, because I said, oh, in my consult they told me that I'm having an open septorhinoplasty, and I booked in for April 8th and stuff, and he was like, I'll tell you what you're having. I'm the surgeon. They don't know what they're talking about. Is basically what he said. Not in such a rude way, but I said, because I was asking about the septoplasty, because I was like, oh, they told me that I'm getting a septoplasty. So he did a little examination of my nose. He does look up your nose with a little torch, and he had a look up there. He said that I don't need a septoplasty because my septum is not that deviated. If you didn't know, a septoplasty is kind of like a medical nose job. So the septum here in the middle, some people have a deviated septum where it kind of goes to the wrong side and it makes it difficult for you to breathe. So I thought I had a deviated septum, but he said it actually wasn't that big of a deal, so he wasn't going to do a septoplasty. So following this meeting with Dr. Giannis, I decided to send an email to MYA telling them what he said about the septoplasty, because I thought that I was going to get a reduction in the price, because the original price that they gave me, they said that was for an open septo rhinoplasty, and I'm now not having a septoplasty. However, I wish that I didn't send that email, because Maya replied to me and said that they had read Dr. Giannis's notes, and that because he was giving me a skin graft and allobase reduction or something else, that they were going to charge an additional £200 onto my original cost. So they weren't giving me a reduction, they were actually going to charge me £200 more, which I was really surprised about. I was kind of annoyed because I didn't know where they were getting these prices from, and I just wonder if I didn't ask that, would they have put the price up or would it have stayed the same? I don't really know. I was kind of annoyed because, again, I had that price in my mind and now it was going to be £200 more than that. But at the end of the day, I'd already met my surgeon, I'd paid my deposit, I had my surgery date, which I was already counting down to. I was so excited. So although I was annoyed that they changed the price, I thought to myself, what's £200 on what I'm already paying? Like, there was no way that I was going to cancel it. So following my meeting with my surgeon, I was in regular contact with Maya, or I mean, they were in regular contact with me, asking me how I am through text messages, emails, everything like that. They are really, really good at keeping up with patients and staying with you every step of the way. So the next stage was my virtual pre-op appointment in March, which was done via a video call with one of the Maya nurses, who again was really lovely, like everyone at Maya that I've spoken to. So in my virtual pre-op, she went through all the details of my operation, of the hospital that I was going to, what I needed to bring, what I can and can't do before my admission, and everything like that. And then following that, the next stage was my physical in-person pre-op appointment at the Maya clinic, where they basically did everything that they couldn't do virtually, like my blood pressure, taking a blood sample, doing my pre-op before photos for the before and after. And again, my physical pre-op at the clinic was with one of the Maya nurses. So then about a week before my admission, I had a video call with Dr. Giannis, which was a chance to chat with him and go over everything, ask him any questions, for him to check that I was okay with everything. So then April the 8th was the big day. That's when I went in for my surgery. I did vlog the whole day and the recovery and everything, so go check that out if you haven't already. I will link it down below. And my operation was done at First Trust Hospital in Preston, which is like the Maya base for the north of England. So I stayed in overnight at the hospital because I was told that Dr. Giannis likes all his patients to stay in overnight. I have seen videos of people having rhinoplasty and going home straight afterwards. So you can be a day case, you don't need to stay in overnight, but with Maya and with Dr. Giannis, he does like everyone to stay in overnight, so I didn't really mind doing that. I kind of felt safer staying overnight than going home straight afterwards. And Dr. Giannis came to check on me the evening of my surgery once he'd finished in theatre, and he came again to check on me in the morning, ask how I was and everything like that. But all of my actual care, like my medications and bringing me food and everything, that was all done by the nurses in the hospital. And I was told by a patient advisor at Maya that Dr. Giannis was going to come back and take out the packing in my nose. But then when I was in hospital, I was told that one of the senior nurses was going to do it and that the surgeon doesn't do it after all. So it wasn't like a bad thing because obviously she knew what she was doing. I was just expecting the surgeon to do it because that's what I'd been told. And now a little bit about the aftercare from Maya. So the aftercare from Maya is great. They do really care about the patients. They keep in regular contact with you, asking how you are and everything, if there's anything they can do to help. You do get given a lot of information from Maya about what to expect before surgery and after surgery. There is an emergency Maya number to call if you needed help with anything. Do remember that the NHS tends to not deal with things that are done privately. Obviously, if it was an absolute emergency, yes, you could go into the NHS hospital, but because you've had private surgery, private medical care, the NHS tends to not bother with things like that and with helping you with anything. So if you do have any problems, you are best calling MYA and speaking with MYA and with the surgeon. Like, as you guys saw in my videos, I did have the problem with my throat and the reaction that I had in my throat, and MYA were really interested in helping me with that. They contacted the surgeon for me. They asked me how I was afterwards. So it wasn't like you've had the surgery, that's that, we're not interested. They actually cared about my aftercare and they really wanted to help me wherever they could and however they could. Also, something I forgot to mention, but everything is included in the price. So once you book a MYA surgery, all your pre-op, post-op care, any medication you need, any care in the hospital stay, hospital food, everything is included in that price. And then the most exciting part of my journey was my cast off day. So I had my cast off day 9 days after my surgery. It's typically 1 week afterwards, but it can be up to 10 days afterwards, I think. So originally mine was 1 week afterwards, but I changed my appointment because I wanted to have a specific nurse take my cast off. It was the same nurse who did my pre-op. I really liked her, so I wanted her to do my cast off. So she changed my appointment for me so that I could have my cast off with her. So I had it 9 days after my op. And again, after my cast off, MYA was still in regular contact with me via Instagram DM, text messages. I do think the fact that they follow patients and engage with their content and stuff does show that they really care about the patients and about their aftercare and stuff. And now the end of my MYA journey. So I recently had my 6-week post-op appointment in person at the clinic. I actually still had some of the stitches inside my nose, which was supposed to be dissolvable after surgery. So she removed those for me. She checked me over, did my blood pressure, checked my nose, asked me if I was happy with everything, and then she discharged me, which is so sad. I mean, obviously I'm happy that everything is healthy and that it's healing really well and that I've come this far. Okay, so that is all for this video on my experience with MYA and my journey with MYA cosmetic surgery. I feel like this has been such a long and chatty one. My throat is starting to hurt because I've been speaking for so long, but I wanted to tell you guys everything, every step of my journey, so hopefully it can be helpful and informative for you guys who are doing your research. Thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you so much for following along with my nose job journey and my nose job diaries, and for being interested in it and for all your lovely comments and support. Honestly, it does mean so much to me, and it's made my nose job experience even more amazing because I've been taking you guys along on the journey with me as well. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up button and leave me a comment below. Any questions you have or anything you want to know, I'd be happy to answer. Don't forget to subscribe if you aren't already, and check out my Nose Job Diaries playlist for more rhinoplasty content. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys soon. Bye.
Yeah.